Now, the complexity of the treaty should not be welcomed. It could be much simpler. It would be much easier and straightforward to have simple phrases and simple statements, rather than stuff that you have to sit down over months to try and pour, and we're still arguing over what exactly does it mean. Why not say that A means A and this is what we mean, rather than going into all this rigmarole that really does, whether it's intentional or not, hide the real truth of many of these provisions. And by the way, I've been hearing so much recently about all the rights that the European Union has given the Irish working people. I've been hearing as well that the dictatorships in Portugal and in Eastern Europe fell because of the European Union. Exaggerated claims are being made for the European Union. I would remind you that it was millions of working people moving into the streets and onto action in Portugal in the 1970s, and in East Germany, and in Poland, and in Hungary. It was working people that brought down the dictatorships, not bureaucrats sitting in Brussels and enunciating fine sentiments of liberty. And similarly, the rights of working people fundamentally were won, including the right to vote, by the struggle of the working class in this country and throughout Europe. And by the way, it is very, very rich to sit or to stand up in Dublin Castle and to hear leading people from Fianna Fáil, the PDs, and Fine Gael say, oh, but for the European Union, we wouldn't have these rights about equal pay, etc. Well, I say, if you say that, shame on you, because you are the people who have ruled this country for the last 80 years. Why should you think Now, Dan, I'm afraid, is trying to say that the changes aren't really what they are, and minimises the impact of critical changes that are brought out in this Treaty of Lisbon. And Dan doesn't like the European Defence Agency. Hope it doesn't work effectively. Now, Dan, you are no fool. They have the European Defence Agency for a reason. You did mention yourself the military-industrial complex. Exactly what is now being developed within the European Union. These are billion-euro companies, private companies, and also some state companies, who are intent on flogging the merchandise of death everywhere in the world that they can. That's what it means to create a competitive market. To go onto the world stage and to compete with the United States of America and compete with other countries, to undersell them, to send more attack helicopters, more bombers to countries like Pakistan and India and others, where people starve, but where the elite and the oligarchy of those countries want those armaments to protect their own power, their privilege and their interests. It is shameful, shameful that the European Union should advance such a military-industrial complex. And I think it is shameful, Dan, I have to say, and I'm extremely disappointed that the Green Party has turned its back on all these sentiments to stand with humanity on these issues since you went into government, as the Labour Party has done previously. I spent 10 years in the Dáil with John Gormley, your leader, and John Gormley would be in a high state of apoplexy with regard to many of the provisions contained in the Lisbon, up to May of last year. And it is not because Lisbon is something new that is going off in a new direction. It's for sheer political opportunism. That's what's involved, I'm afraid, and it has to be said as a scientific fact.